Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Now, I am not on the video because if I did, it's going to be blinding as all hell. So I'm going to save you guys from this because I'm recording this and the sun is splitting the skies, and unfortunately, I do my work next to a window. But what we have to talk about today is the Shouju Core Victoria Hand video here today, and we're going to do a very brief discussion piece, I guess, about the Overpower blog that happened yesterday. And I'm going to give my thoughts on that really quick before we jump into that. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. All right, and so this is the blog. Okay, so I guess the TLDR, or too long didn't read version, if you don't want to read the blog, is that they're doing nothing. That we are keeping the Overpower staying in the game, and all the kerfuffle that we've been putting up with, that we've been talking about over the last 2 weeks, they don't really care. They're bulldozing ahead, and that's the end of it, really. But I do want to bring up one particular thing. There's a lot of stuff here. They talk about their arguments and their reasoning as to why Overpower is staying in Marvel Strike Force, but I'll be honest, like, I don't really buy a lot of this stuff, so I don't want to kind of force you guys to sit here and listen to me talk about that, because I just, at the end of the day, I think that a lot of this stuff is just bogus. But that's just my thoughts anyways. This is something that is important, however, because they are retuning when Overpower is coming to the game for newer players or other players, and I think this is really important to know that now Overpower is starting at player level 50 in gear tier 10, right? This very early on in the progression stages, right? Level 50, gear tier 10, ISO green 5. This is super early on. And so this has a lot of impact for newer players, meaning that before, right, you didn't get access to Overpower until basically level 95, I think it was. And so now it's quite significantly different. And what that means is that new players are going to notice this. They're going to notice the 50% damage and focus, particularly the damage, right? That's really where people are going to start to notice this, whether it's in, probably not so much in PvE, because there isn't really a whole lot of stuff that uses that yet. But it's going to be noticeable in the realms of PvP with Alliance War and Cosmic Crucible. That being said, as a new player, PvP is absolutely not your priority. Take this from somebody who has done a new player account who went from 0 all the way to Odin. My alt account did unlock Odin. And PvP is not a huge priority until you're at the point where you can field a bunch of different teams. Typically, you're more offensive focused when you're a new player as well, and not so much on defense, because you just don't have the total number of teams to be able to do that. So do keep this stuff in mind, though, if you are somebody who is basically in the range of level 50 through 95, essentially, which would have been previous to what we knew now. So this is coming. I don't know if this is in now or if this is being introduced soon. That part I don't really remember. How quickly is this being edited to include this stuff? If somebody knows, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe it's in here somewhere and I just kind of skipped it over. But it just says we're going to be revising the thresholds. I didn't see like a date, unless I'm dumb and I didn't read that. But anyways, apparently some changes are coming to this. Just be aware of this, right? Okay, so let's, do we have that? So let's talk about Victoria Hand, though. That's what we're kind of here to talk about, right? Victoria Hand, which is going to be the first character coming to Marvel Strike Force for the Thunderbolts team, part of the new Raid team. The Raid Bio team, sorry, my bad. The Raid Bio team. Now, she is biotech. That's just kind of flavor text. Her gear is entirely bio, which is kind of funny. But we want to talk about Victoria Hand and whether or not she is going to be worth your power cores, and whether or not the Thunderbolts team, aka Bio Raid team, for you is going to be meaningful or not. So I do want to take a look at the stats of Victoria Hand, and I want to take a look at her kit and kind of break this down a little bit for you guys. Now, we kind of talked about this in a previous video a little bit, and I was fairly impressed with her stats, if I'm not mistaken. So she's 14 in health, which is pretty good. Now, she's pretty close to where Groot is from the Starjammers team here, so her health is pretty good. She is the support character, which is interesting because normally the support characters come last, but she is the first one to be released, and I do actually like her kit once we actually get into that. So damage-wise, She's also in the top 12, pretty close in the top 20. She's 21 in damage, which is still pretty impressive for a support-based character. Her armor, though, is stellar. She has more armor than Professor Xavier. So number 2 in armor, this is really, really solid. Typically, not always, but typically, tech characters do have a bit higher on the armor side if you check some of the other characters, but this is really impressive, which means that for a support character, her survivability is going to be very strong, which is really good, right? You know, you don't want her to die. Now, Focus, on the other hand, she's kind of in the top 50. She's tied with a bunch of other kind of recently-ish new characters, Ancient One, Nimrod, Patriot, etc. Her resistance is also pretty good. She's 8, which is super stellar again as well, tied with some pretty powerful characters. So her armor and resistance, her survivability stats are very, very good, which is great. As long as you're not getting overpowered, I suppose. Her speed, on the other hand, is pretty average. Like we're still going down, right? Like I'm pretty sure, there we go, 114. It's pretty slow. So as far as where she is in the turn order, honestly, it's probably going to be towards the end of that. So do be careful about that. We haven't really seen, have we not seen any Thunderbolts gameplay yet? I don't think by the envoys, so do keep that in mind as well. But generally, her survivability stats, outside of the speed anyways, is pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now let's talk about the kit though, right? Inner tag. So Hero Global. Now, is she someone that you're going to want to take into Hero Global? Maybe, right? Because she is bio. The question is that maybe you could use, you know, some of the Liberty members with Victoria Hand. I really do like her kit, and I do want to talk about that a little bit more in detail. Now, her basic Golden Gun, attack primary target for 300% piercing. All of her attacks are piercing, and her damage stat, you know, is nothing to scoff at. So this is pretty decent. Applies 2 bleed on a basic attack, gain +1 charge to a max of 5. We'll take a look at that though when we get to the passive. I might just jump to the passive after the basic here. Call a random controller ally to attack the primary target. Now that's very specific, right? But it is usable outside the Thunderbolts team and gains 150% extra focus to apply that. So her focus wasn't super great. I believe it was like in the 40s, top 40s. But with the extra focus, this stuff should all help as well. I'm going to jump to the passive really quick here. So Adamantine Spy. On spawn, bury yourself in all Thunderbolt and Shield allies for 30% of this character's max health. So 30% is quite noticeable. And then 2 charge up to a max of 5, but in raids, it's basically max charges. Take a look at the charge mechanic as well. In raids, if this team it's the full team basically, she's the energy battery. So generate 4 ability energy for self and all Thunderbolt allies with the entire team. Right, so do keep that in mind. And just in case people ask, this is the Thunderbolts team with Taskmaster and Ghost, not with Bucky, or sorry, Winter Soldier, US Agent, and Red Guardian. They are not on this team, so keep that in mind as well. In raids, gain on turn, any person's turn, gain 1 charged up to a max of 5. And while charged, when an enemy attacks this character or any Thunderbolt ally, generate 1 ability energy for 2 random Thunderbolt allies or self that were not full. So more energy battering for every charge. That's like two random ability energy basically every time somebody gets hit. This is pretty good, right? Because she starts with 5, but she's getting that for using her basic attack as well. I think that she would also get that for a striker attack. So this could be a pretty nice thing to have both in and outside of raids. So that's something that I'm thinking about. Now, the first time this character or any Thunderbolt or Shield ally gains stun, clear the stun from self and all allies. So this is also interesting because it's a full AoE stun clear, just in case there's multiple stuns that are being chalked out. This also works on Shield, but I don't know what relevance that really has. And then when this character or a Thunderbolt or a Shield ally drops below these multiple thresholds, if she has charged, and it's not even for the first time, so this can happen, I think, at any point they drop below these thresholds, which is crazy. Multiple thresholds. If this character has the full team, reduce the duration of heal block by 2, and then also heal them for 25% of this character's max health. So it's based on Victoria Hand's health, who is very good in the health department, right? We checked that out, that basically she is pretty high up there, right? In terms of the, she's number 14 in health. So that's pretty solid stat there. So this kit is really, really nice. And I'm going to have to double check the JSON because I'm wondering, because it doesn't say for the first time. So anytime they're losing more than 25% health, they're healing for one charge. One charge is healing for 25% of the max health. That's pretty bonkers if you ask me. So really, really solid passive. Her special, primary and adjacent targets for 550% piercing and apply 2 vulnerable. That's really nice too. Outside of raids, regeneration, 2 regeneration to self and all allies. Again, outside of the team as well. Any game mode, gain more charge, and then 500% focus and cannot miss. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that means that she can't be blinded. I always hate the text on this. Cannot miss means that she can't be blinded. That is not going to, I'm pretty sure that's what this means. And then her ultimate data breach, primary and adjacent targets for 350% piercing, and then trauma ability. So this is AoE, not quite full AoE, but adjacent AoE, ability block and trauma. This is super solid. More ability energy, a full cleanse to the team, and then 2 negative effects if it's any other allies. So she has good applicability in places like Dark Dimension, in the Xavier Saga, and this is a character that I might actually end up taking for my global hero because I'm going to be at the point where I need to kind of include more bio characters into the mix. She can also heal her entire team for 25%, but it does do a small minor heal for 10% of this character's max health to everyone else. But she also does do the regeneration to everyone, which is still nice. So she does have a good amount of support and healing to, non-Thunderbolt allies, which is really nice. And then she gains more charge in raids for all the skills, more focus, unavoidable. This is great, unavoidable, and cannot be blocked. So honestly, a really amazing kit overall. She is definitely a character that's on my radar to be taking to the Xavier Saga because I'm nowhere near going into Global Hero yet, and I think that I would rather take Victoria Hand than say an extra member of Liberty. But that's just me. I know that they do get war bonuses in there, but I'm thinking more like along the lines of 3 Liberty characters and trying to use some bio gear for Victoria Hand. Now, speaking of her gear, of course, her unique is Crimson Shield Tech, which is the same as Daredevil Modern, so do keep that in mind, especially for people who are building up for the Xavier Saga for gear tier 20 and taking him in. If you are thinking about Victoria Hand, make sure that you have, 43 Crimson Shield Tech available for her if that's what you want to do. But overall, I'm very impressed with her kit. I do like what she has to offer. So I guess, and I think that the sun's gone down a bit, so I'm going to bring myself back up a little bit here for the end anyways. So I guess really the question is, should you core for Victoria Hand? Just like when I was talking about the vigilante characters, you're probably not going to make a ton of use of her on her own unless you are ready to take her into something like the Xavier Saga. So as far as the raids go, you're not going to be able to do the bio raids until you have the full 5 piece of the Thunderbolts, right, which includes the other 2 characters of Songbird and Hyperion. So are you going to get a lot of value out of this right now? Probably not. The types of people that I would probably core, or who would want to core for this, again, is if you have the gear ready, the bio gear ready to go into the Global Hero Xavier section. We don't have any information about any pocket dimensions or towers where you kind of need them right now. I haven't heard anything yet, so that's not really, there's no real need to kind of unlock her now, in my opinion. I don't think that you need to do this. So I'm going to be personally waiting, but I am very impressed with her kit, and I hope that we don't have to wait too long for a free-to-play unlock because I do really like what she has to offer. Let me know what your thoughts are, though, in the comments down below, both about Victoria Hand and also the blog from Overpowered. If you did actually read that, I want to know what you guys think about base. What should I do from here? And that's what I'm wondering. Like, me as somebody with a platform, is there a point talking about my dislike about Overpower, or is this dead? They're going ahead whether we like it or not. And I guess the question is, should I bother raising it in videos in the future, or are we just gonna, I guess at this point, kind of bend over and accept it? Because it seems that that's what's going on right now. I'm just I'm really disappointed. I got to admit, I'm disappointed with where this game is headed as far as listening to the community. I really think that's just it's not happening, first of all, and I think that Scopely doesn't really give a shit about us. They're just doing whatever is in their best interest, as usual, to line their pockets, but they don't care about the feedback at all. I think they say they are, but I really don't think they are. Anyways, maybe a conversation for another day. So that's going to be it for now, everyone, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.